This Diddy thing just seems to be getting weirder and weirder. We just keep getting more and more allegations and more things coming forth. Well, on March 25th of 2024, he had 2 properties raided. We have an alleged 3rd property that is rumored to have been raided, but I couldn't find anything concrete on that. If you would like to see previous content on the Diddy allegations and lawsuits, we have covered those in the past, and there is a video that you guys can watch on that.
So as time moves on, it seems that these allegations are rooted in more than just rumors. Now that we've had a couple of raids, possibly a 3rd one, and a couple of arrests, it looks like things are starting to get a little bit dicey.
What started as a civil suit that was settled next day, might I add, has transformed into a coast-to-coast raid. I would like you to take us a little bit deeper into what the feds were looking for and what they think that they might have found, and what is some of the reasoning that these raids might have taken place.
The searches are connected to a federal investigation regarding allegations of sex trafficking, sexual assault, and the solicitation and distribution of illegal narcotics and firearms. During the raids on the Miami and LA homes, it was alleged by multiple sources that since Diddy could not be located at either residence, that he may have fled. The source of the speculation came from flight tracking data showing Diddy's private jet had left California and flew to Antigua at 9 a.m. the day of the raids. These rumors were later found to be inaccurate, as Diddy was found at Opa-locka Airport around 4:30 p.m. the day of the raids. When found, it was reported that 2 of Diddy's phones were confiscated, and 25-year-old Brendan Paul was arrested and is accused of being a mule for the mogul's drugs and guns. Paul was arrested for carrying cocaine and marijuana-laced candy, Miami-Dade police said in an affidavit. He faces charges of possessing cocaine and a controlled substance.
I'd be stressed too if I just got done settling a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. He's a billionaire, but multi-millions, I imagine, for anyone still hurts. It is rather crazy that the alleged drug mule named in a past lawsuit is being arrested for drugs and being with Diddy at the same time. And anytime phones are taken, it's a little bit of a scary situation. As far as the plane and people not being able to locate or get visuals on Diddy right away, I can see where people would get that idea that maybe he was trying to run away.
So I think the fact that they caught him off guard shows that the feds are really good at what they do. It does lead me to wonder what would have happened if they had caught him on the plane.
It wouldn't have had much effect, even if he was on that private jet, because where he was going does have an extradition treaty with the US. So the US would have been able to capture him, bring him back, if that's what he was trying to do. Another reason I think they tried to catch him off guard as well is the things that they're searching for: flash drives, memory cards, etc., etc. It's very easy to destroy and attempt to delete, and can make the feds' life very hard. And because of the extent of the search and how deep the warrant goes, they needed a lot of time to get there and get everything organized, make a list of what all they've taken, and they need to know exactly what they're looking for, which also leads me to believe that there was some kind of insider source that the feds have that was able to tell them that certain items and certain bits of evidence would be at these locations at that time.
So at the end of the day, the raids were for the information and for the objects, not for Diddy himself.
No, there is not a current indictment on Diddy at this exact moment, which is why no arrests have been made. If the feds have gone ahead and already gotten a search warrant, that is very alarming, because the feds don't go ahead and get warrants without enough information to go to trial. So say I'm in the FBI or HSI. If I go to my higher up and I'm like, hey, I have this information, I want to go ahead and perform a search warrant on a house. If I don't have enough information to go to trial, typically what the FBI is going to do is they're going to tell you, no, we're good on that. Go get more information, go gather more resources, get a CI, whatever. And CIs can be done in multiple ways too, for anyone in the audience that's wondering. CIs can go ahead and be someone who is paid out, someone trying to escape a charge. And then you have an upstanding citizen, or someone who cares about their community, or someone that possibly has beef with said person in it, whether it be like a drug competitor or just someone who has a vendetta against that person and doesn't like them and wants them taken off the street.
Well, you made it very clear that nobody should ever mess with the feds. They're very good at what they do. They have almost psychic powers, and they can tell where you're going to be. Knowing that, if I was Diddy, I would make sure not to flee. However, Diddy's attorney did make a statement about the fleeing. Despite media speculation, neither Mr. Combs nor any of his family members have been arrested, nor has their ability to travel been restricted in any way.
It would be foolish for him to even try to flee, I think, at this point. The feds, obviously, if they want you bad enough, they're going to get you. You don't get a 97% conviction rate or higher without being really good at what you do and having the facts all laid out already and having your information ready for trial before you even act on a search warrant. warrant.
Because they are so good at what they do, I'm guessing that not a lot of the older charges or anything else that he's kind of being accused of is going to be incorporated into these new charges, or is there something that might allow them to kind of group that all together?
I'm actually glad you said that. A RICO charge is a way that the feds can get around the statute of limitations. If they can prove that the sex trafficking, the narcotics running, and the illegal firearms running, if they can prove that it's ongoing and in furtherance of a criminal organization, then RICO is now applicable. That means that the statute of limitations is no longer affected by certain crimes. Sex crimes, things of that nature that might have a statute of limitations of 4 or 5 years, those are no longer held to that statute of limitations, because for the audience that doesn't know, murder is one, if not the only charge that doesn't have a statute of limitations. Some of these other crimes that he might have gotten away with if it wasn't involved in a RICO will no longer be able to be gotten away with.
I find it interesting how they rephrase the crime as ongoing as opposed to having already happened in order to eliminate that statute of limitations. It's really clever, but it also makes you wonder, is it splitting hairs?
The reason that the RICO was set up that way is because when the mob and the mafia and all of that was really big, they used it to get the higher-ups, because the higher-ups were never out doing the hits themselves. They were paying someone to do the hit, or they were paying someone to do their dirt, so it made it really hard to get them. RICO was established in order to be able to knock down these higher-ups in order to actually stop the crime from happening, because they can always find another crash dummy in these organizations, right? Whether it be a gang, mafia, whatever you have you. The crime continues and continues and continues. They need to find a way to cut the snake's head off. It is kind of splitting hairs, and it is kind of worrisome. In my opinion, you can't say, oh, well, there's a statute of limitations for this. There's only so long you can be charged for, but then be like, well, unless it's because of this. But I do understand why they set it up that way. Let us know what you think down in the comments below about the diddler. Do you think he's going to spend an extensive amount of time in prison? Do you think that he's the next R. Kelly? Do you think he can escape these charges? Let us know all that down in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button. I'm Rugburn.
And I'm Pickled Landon.
And this is Tombstone Tourist.